trying to find a good place to pull over here where I can talk to you. I think I just found a good spot. Let's see what this looks like. Yup, This is good. This is good. We're gonna pull in right here. Back her right in here. Let's see how this goes. Okay. Before anyone says anything, yes, this tire has a little low in air. I just now saw it. I will fix that up when we get back. Hello, and this is my 1991 Corvette Coupe, black. Many of you have seen my videos in the past, have already seen this car. In my opinion, it's beautiful. I've gotten a lot of feedback from you guys. It's a good looking car for its year. It's really hard to find a C4 that is this clean and paint job that is this good. Right now is actually the Corvettes at Carlisle Car Show in Carlisle, Pennsylvania, and me being a Corvette fanatic, I went out for lunch today and sat at a restaurant on the outside of the building, which is typically not me because I don't like warm weather, but today is a lot nicer than it has been, and there's probably 90 to 100 Corvettes that went past us in that hour that we were there, and it was amazing. And I see a lot of C4s go by, but the paint's faded, they don't look all that great, but I personally think mine is definitely one of the best ones around. Now there are some C4s in the actual show that are like immaculate, and that's awesome. I'm very happy to see that. But the things that you guys don't see about this car is it's got a lot of problems. Now I'm not talking engine problems. I'm talking like absolutely everything else. And I wanted to take you guys for a walk around today and explain all those things to you and show you that it's not the perfect car it looks like. I mean, it's a Corvette, of course it's perfect, but it's got a lot of problems, so let's check them out. Alright, so the number one problem with my Corvette is this tire is a little low in air. Now that's not really a problem, I mean it is, but I'm only about a half a mile from my house, so that can be fixed very fast, and it's not like flat to the rim, so I'm safe getting back to the house, but that was kind of a joke. It's not really a problem with the car. But the other things I want to show you are actual problems that really drive me nuts, and I will get into that right now. The other thing that I do not understand with this car is the hood on my car. Whoever had it before me, they had some kind of a rigging they did to get the hood to open properly. And if you look in here, kind of hard to see, but there's this little black hook thing right here. I don't know if you can see that or not, but I guess they used to use that to pop the hood, because whenever you pull the actual, on these cars, the actual hood trunk, the actual thing to release it is right here. Where's it at? It's like right here where my fingers are. And when you pull that, nothing changes on the hood. I don't know if you saw that or not. So what I have to do is I have to actually pull the latch and lift up on the hood at the same time. I doubt you're going to be able to see this on camera, but I will try to see. So I pull up on the latch, and then I pull up on the hood. So when I do that, of course, it just released the latch. And then, once that is done, then I'm able to actually lift the hood up all the way to where it's supposed to be when it's open. Another thing that drives me nuts, I'm not going to demonstrate it because my hood's already up and I only have one hand available, but whenever I shut the hood, unless you slam it with all your might, oh, by the way, here's this thing I was talking about. It's like a coat hanger with like a rubber piece of pipe around it, I guess, to protect your hands, but you can see it's attached right here. I've never used it since I've had the car, so I guess I found a way to get around it, I don't know. But whenever you shut the hood, like this side might actually like latch. These latches will latch perfectly tight, but the other side I'll have to go over with a rag. I use a rag because I don't want to touch my paint, and I have to like push down that side too as well. I don't know if all C4s are like that. It's probably because it's older. I don't know if when you shut it should just, both sides should latch perfectly at the same time. Mine does not and never has, and I've had this car for 9.5 years now, which is hard to believe. But another thing that drives me nuts about this car is a lot of people are like this, and I know I am. But I hate lights being on my dash because they're not supposed to be on there. But on my car, let me turn this key switch on. I have a service ride control light, which you can see right here, which never, ever, ever goes out. And yes, I can get a fix, but I've been told that's a pretty expensive fix. But what that means is that this thing right here, which controls your tour, sport, and performance on your suspension, does not work. Of course, I keep it in sport because it looks cool, but it does absolutely nothing because it doesn't work. And I'll tell you how I know it's broken for sure, and I'll show you right here. Whenever I got the car, I asked the guy who I bought it from what that light was for, and he told me, oh, it's your selective ride control, it's broken. Well, right here on this thing right here, see how it's just like there and it's not actually attached to anything? This is no joke. When I bought this car, somebody had a brochure from an amusement park folded like in fours, and they had it shoved underneath there so it was nice and tight. Like it was literally a cardstock brochure for our amusement park shoved in here to keep that from vibrating around. But I've never noticed it vibrating, so it's been off the car now for 9.5 years, never noticed a problem with it. So yeah, so my car came with an advertisement for an amusement park. Did your car come with that? I highly doubt it. Another thing about this car that does not work anymore. Now, the only reason I know this is because there's a new person I started following on YouTube who has a yellow C4. I forget his name. His YouTube name is, I don't know how to actually pronounce it, but I know he's got a beard, glasses, has a yellow C4. Makes good videos. I like him a lot. But I noticed in his video that whenever he releases his rear hatch, and as soon as he releases it, it goes all the way up to where it's supposed to be. Mine, since I bought it, by the way, there's a release right here in case you guys don't know that. There's a release right here and inside here, that yellow button. But when you release my button, here, I'll show you right now. There, it just released. And it as you can see, you can't even tell it released, but it did, because now I can lift it up. Oop, that was a fail. Okay, try this again. There we go. Now you can see here, now I had to lift it up. But my shocks, which are these things, hydraulics, whatever you want to call them, they, see how it just falls down, like, by itself? If I just, like, touch it, it just falls. So, obviously, I know what the problem is. These hydraulics here need replaced. They're not too expensive. I think they're, like, maybe $30 for the pair. I think. I don't know. I looked it up, like, 2 years ago. Because I was going to replace them before, because I noticed they were spongy. But I didn't realize that it actually rises by itself when you push that button, which I would love if mine did, because it just looks cool when you pop the button. It goes, it's pretty nice. And this is that latch that I made a video on just recently. That goes in here, and then latches, and then you have nice airflow through the cabin of your car. Now, this other thing that does not work anymore just stopped working about 3 weeks ago. Actually, I'm trying to think when that was. About a week and a half ago, I got in my car, and as you guys know, I always have my top off. I never, ever, ever, ever have my top on. I actually do not drive when the top's on because it's boring. It's not fun. But it's still fun. It's a Corvette, but it's not the Corvette fun that I like to enjoy. So I got in my car and I pushed this button right here, and my power window did absolutely nothing. Luckily, it's stuck in a down position because I never drive it with the window up, and I never ever drive it in the rain. And funny story about the rain. I was getting my hair cut the other day, and I told the lady that I didn't want to drive it to get my hair cut because there was a chance of rain. And she's like, I don't understand these car guys that don't like to get their cars wet in the rain. Like, does the rain hurt it? Like, what's it do? And I was like, no, it just makes me have to wash it. And she's like, oh, well, that makes sense because you get water spots and everything all over. And I said, yeah. She was, oh my word, I've been wondering this for my whole life, and I never understood why these guys always don't want to drive their cars in the rain. Well, it makes sense now because then you got to wash it. And if you just drive it when it's dry, all you got to do is kind of just wireless wash it with a rag and some wireless wash from Adams Products, or Adams Polishes, I should say, and take care of that problem real quick. But my driver's side window no longer goes down. And the thing that's weird about it, I haven't looked into it yet as far as fuses and stuff, but whenever I had this car painted back in 2014, which was a video about that, at the cornfield, if you want to look at my previous videos, when I got the car painted, they replaced both window motors. So I highly doubt it's a motor. I think it's probably a fuse. But I'm not sure. Luckily, like I said, I don't drive it when it rains. And if I have gotten caught in the rain a few times, yes. And when that happens, I will probably get wet. But that's a chance I'm willing to take. I don't drive it a whole lot anyways. So that problem we're going to try to take care of here sometime, but I don't really know when. And another problem with my car is, you see this lovely thing right here? This CD player, cassette player, and all these things and buttons. You see how that says 12:02? It's not 12:02, it's actually 6:08 p.m. right now. But radio does not work. The radio itself is fine. I actually had it completely remanufactured, or refurbished I should say, and it worked fine afterwards. And even whenever you turn on the volume knob, it is supposed to have the antenna in the back go up in the air, and it no longer does that. So I know there's something wrong with the radio somehow, but one thing I hate about these cars is they have like a little ECU, or like the brain of the radio, and it's up inside. It's like up under where that light is. It's like up inside of there, and it literally takes a long time to get to, and you have to be skinny and very able to get around in tiny spaces. And in case you haven't seen my full body, I am none of them. So the radio does not work. So whenever I go on trips, even if it's a short trip, or to church or back or anywhere, I can't have any radio. So a lot of times when I drive my car, it's by myself because I have 2 kids and they can't fit in the back. As you can see, there's no seats. So my wife and I will sit here and just talk to each other, which is perfectly fine because I love her to death and that's what we do. But I wish my radio worked when I'm by myself because I like listening to music a lot. I have a CD of electronic music that I like a lot, which is Skrillex and a few others that I really like a lot. But radio does not work. That is one thing I wish did work. And I did have a cassette in here that I could play my phone through it, but since the radio doesn't work, it doesn't do anything. But the thing I'm concerned about, and if you guys know anything, please let me know. If this works, to have it, tell you the time, which, it's not perfect, it's not right now because I'm not ever looking at it for time. If that part is working, but nothing else works, do you have any idea what it could be? Have you guys had this experience before? If you have, please let me know because I'd really like to get that fixed. That's one of the only things that I would like, that if I had the money, I would fix first because I really do wish I had that. The other thing that is wrong with my car is the seats. I love the seats to death. They're super, super comfortable. I do have the leather sports seats that came with this car. The dual sport seats, they're both powered. And these here actually work. The up and downs, the adjusting everything works perfectly fine. However, the part that I don't like is these 3 buttons right here adjust the lumbar, which there's like little air pads behind these things in the car that adjust things. And there's also things that adjust these bolsters to make them go in and out, which my butt's too big, hold on, which I think are over, no they're not, maybe, so I guess it is these things are actually supposed to adjust the bolsters, go in and out. Luckily mine are adjusted for a big person, because if they weren't adjusted for a big person, I wouldn't have been able to purchase a car, because I'm a big person. Oh, I almost forgot about this one. This one also drives me nuts. So when I first bought the car, let me get back here in the car and show you. When I first got the car, I did not realize that like all these things here, like the yellow you see, that when you turn the headlights on, these all light up. All these things light up. All these buttons here light up. This over here lights up. All these yellow things you see actually illuminate yellow whenever the headlights are turned on. Well, when I first bought the car, I turned the headlights on, nothing ever lit up, so I never expected it to. Well, it was probably 2 years after I had the car. I'm driving on the road and it started to get dark, so I turned my headlights on, and all of a sudden, whoo, it looked like I was sitting in an airplane cockpit because there was lights everywhere. And I'm like, whoa, where the heck did this come from? Because I had never seen it before. This was the very first C4 I ever sat in, drove, anything. This is the very first time. So I was not expecting it. When they come on, I was like, dang, this is awesome, because it looks super, super cool when everything's lit up. It lasted for about 3 years. And for the past 2 years, all of a sudden, just one day, the lights went out and have not come back on. So I don't know if that's a fuse either. I've checked the fuses for them. It hasn't done anything, so I don't know what else it could be. Once again, if you guys do know anything about that, I would be happy to hear it and try to fix that problem. But at this point, I don't know what it is. So that's annoying, because when I'm driving in here, it's completely dark, except for my stupid service ride control light that I wish was off. And no, no, I am not putting Sharpie or a piece of black tape over it, because I cannot stand stuff that's not supposed to be there. It drives me nuts. I cannot do that. I'd rather deal with it just being on. Yes, I am very stubborn with stuff like that, but that is my problem, not yours. I can think of 2 more things that I want to bring to your attention that's wrong with my car. And I don't know if this is just because of age. I'm sure it is, because I highly doubt that it came factory like this. But on these sun visors right here, mine are so hard to move. Like, you got to put a ton of pressure behind it. I don't know if you can hear that or not, but it makes a noise. Let me see if you can get it. Maybe not. There you go. But they are like extremely hard to move, and this way they're not too bad, but I mean, they're definitely still stiff. But whenever I'm trying to put the top on, like if I am, like there have been times where I've had to drive the top on because it started pouring and I had to just pull over and put it on, suck it up. But I've had, like, getting these holes here, getting access to these holes, just such a pain because of how hard these visors are to move. So I don't know if, like I said, if that's an age thing or if there's actually something wrong, or if that's actually how it came. So if you have a C4 and yours are loose, be good to know. Maybe I can try to put some lubrication on there or something to make that better. In my most recent video of me taking my 3-year-old daughter on a ride in my car, someone mentioned to me that my oil pressure gauge is not working properly. If you notice, whenever I floored it, it like went all the way down to like the 100 on the oil temp gauge, and it just stayed there until I let go of the throttle, and it just kind of bounces around whenever it's not being under full throttle. That a few years ago, actually, I drove. This is back when I worked at a diesel shop in Mechanicsburg. I drove my car to work, and I had to go to York to take a test for some schooling I was doing. And when I parked my car that morning, I noticed there was smoke coming out of my hood, and I'm like, what the heck is this? So I popped the hood, and I noticed that there was smoke coming from my engine, and I'm like, what in the world? I forget now exactly. This was 2008 or something, 2010 I think it was. And I forget how I found out, but I found out that my oil pressure sensor was cracked, and it was causing oil to get in there, and with the heat, it was smoking. Well, I asked my boss, they said, hey, can I take my Corvette home? Now, remind you, it was like a 50-minute drive to home. Can I take my Corvette home and get my Dodge Neon and bring it back to work so I can have something without smoking on the way to York, Pennsylvania? He's like, yeah, sure. So I get in the Corvette, and I get down the road probably 2 minutes, and I'm not kidding you. This cup holder right here, there was smoke pouring out of these holes coming up while I'm driving. Like, it scared me. It definitely scared me a lot, because you're not supposed to see smoke coming through your cup holders whenever you're driving. So I actually pulled over along the road at a development area, and when I got out, there was a huge line of oil on the ground. Like it wasn't like puddles, but it was definitely drops, like every couple inches.
Well, it is currently about 5 till 1 on May 22nd, 2009, and my car has a bad oil leak, and I'm sitting on the road right now waiting on a tow truck to get here, because that's just how my luck is. I don't have any luck. The car's sitting on the road right here, as you can see, just sitting here, Longwoods Drive, just waiting on a tow truck.
So I actually had to call AAA, and they towed me, and luckily I was only about 1 mile from Lawrence Chevrolet, which is right in Mechanicsburg. It took me there, and they replaced the oil pressure sensor, and for a very short time it worked. The gauge worked fine, but once again it's not. So I'm not worried about it. I don't think it's going to cause problems with the engine. It's just reading it wrong, I believe. If that is not the case, please let me know. I don't want to hurt my car. I feel like there was one other thing I wanted to bring to your attention. Oh! The big one. The big one that I have put on forums, and I've gotten lots of responses from, but nothing that I really believe to be my issue. So, something that happens with this car, as you can see, I do have a Vortex power duct cold air rammer on here. It's been over a few years, and it definitely made a big improvement. I also improved this thing. It's not that accordion style, it's the flat rubber kind that doesn't restrict air as much. If you guys have this problem, or had this problem, please let me know so I know how to fix it, because it's really annoying. Let's say I'm in first gear, okay? I floor the car, first gear, put her in second gear. as soon as I let go of the clutch and floor it again, the gas pedal, it literally feels like the brakes were slammed on and like there's 100% no fuel. Like it just like stops. So then I let go of the gas, of course. Then as soon as I hit the gas again, all power is back and I can just go perfectly fine. It doesn't do it again. Now this isn't something it does every time. I can drive it for 2-3 weeks in a row and it won't happen. But every once in a while when I do this, it does. But it just feels like instead of hitting the gas pedal, I slam on the brakes. And no, I'm not slamming on the brakes on how to drive a stick. Yeah. So I hit the gas pedal and it just goes, and then let go and floor it again and it's fine. So why am I losing fuel? I think it's fuel or losing air somewhere. It's probably air. I'm not sure what it is. I'm hoping it's air because it's probably easier that way. But I asked the guy I bought this from, and he told me to clean out my throttle body, which is this right here. I have not done it yet. I have been watching a few videos on how to do it. The problem is, it's not really a problem, but I asked him, you know, just a couple years ago, and I actually have a video on YouTube about this from a couple years ago, that I actually did a seafoam treatment, which I know, you know, people have their opinions about seafoam, but it definitely made a difference as far as, like, there was a lot of white smoke coming out of the exhaust whenever I turned it on, which they say that's what it's supposed to do when it cleans it out, but I don't know. But, ooh, excuse me. Have you guys experienced that problem where it loses all power? And if so, what did you do to fix it? And second of all, this car has 114,000 miles on it now. Is the throttle body something I should definitely clean? Is it, I mean, I'll gladly do it in the fall time when it gets a little cooler and I'm not driving it anymore. But is that something you guys recommend? I would definitely do it if you guys think so. So yeah. Alright, we're getting back in the car here for like the third or fourth time. This is the last thing I think this is the last thing that I need to talk to you about that is wrong with my car. The steering wheel, as you can see right here, I love the steering wheel, there's nothing wrong with it, but the horn, oh, of course it's going to work now. Of course it's going to work now. This horn, like, almost never works. Like, literally, only every once in a while. And it doesn't matter if I have the steering wheel turned a different way, it never changes. But I can drive this thing and hit the horn several times just to see if it works, and it doesn't work at all. And the next time I get in it, it works fine. So, probably, again, another electronic problem. Don't know what the problem is. If you know, please let me know. But, watch the steering wheel. You see how it does that? That's not supposed to do that. Steering wheels, as most of you who are watching this probably do drive vehicles and know that your steering wheel is not supposed to do that. Now, they said that it's common on the C4s, which is good to know. At least it's not uncommon. But it's a very expensive fix. But they said it's not necessary. As long as you're comfortable with it and you can still, you know, maintain control and stuff, it's not going to fall off. It's not an actual problem. It's just somehow it gets loose, I guess, in the steering column or something, and it causes you that. But it's kind of annoying because when I've driven this car now for 9.5 years, and I still hate that it's there. You notice it. But one thing I am sure not to do, which when I first bought the car I did, which is when I first noticed it, is I used to put my weight on the steering wheel getting out of the car. I don't do that anymore because I'm 285 pounds. Now I just put my elbow on the center console, turn myself around, get out of the car. I think that is everything that is wrong with my car, I believe. I don't think I missed anything. Besides the fact that my check engine light's been coming on. Like, after I drive for like a half an hour, it'll come on and stay on until I turn the car off. But of course, it never comes on at a time where I can actually go to Advanced Auto or somewhere to get it plugged in and see what the actual problem is. It always comes on at a real weird time, like late at night when everything's closed. And from what I understand, these cars don't hold memory on check engine lights like the new cars do. So that's the only other thing I think it's probably like an O2 sensor problem because my exhaust may or may not have catalytic converters or a muffler. Not sure. Could be wrong about that. Not really sure at all. But I'm actually very sure. So that's probably what the problem is. I think that is everything that is wrong with my car. Let me just do a walk around here and see if anything comes back to my memory. The antenna, like I said, does not come up anymore because the radio does not work. Everything else, I believe, works. So, yeah. Well, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video of learning about why my car is not perfect, to say the least. But you guys now know the problems it has. If you guys have any input, advice, or suggestions, or anything you guys have dealt with these issues, please feel free to let me know. You can let me know on Instagram. You can let me know on YouTube. on a comment, doesn't matter. I appreciate all your guys' comments very much. I try to reply. I do reply to every single one that I can. I do reply to all of them because I don't have a whole lot. But I do have 78 subscribers now, which is awesome, and I thank all you guys for that. But if you guys have anything else to say to the car, have anything else to say about the car, please go ahead and let me know. I think she's beautiful. She has a lot of problems, but it's still drivable. No one knows those problems are there unless they're told about them. So I love the car. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you guys have a great day. Take care now. See you later. Bye. Hey cows. You want to take a ride in the Corvette? You? No one? No one at all? Fine. Is 0 pounds good enough? I don't think so.